Okay.
Imagine having to slam your body into another 300-pound man 80 times in one night. Breaking bones, ligaments, cutting yourself open on his gear, and this bad harm to your own body. Well, today I'll be talking about the duties of lineman and what a lineman is. I've been a lineman for 4 years now, ever since my junior year of high school. I'm pretty sure most of us watch American football and understand the game and get pumped up over their favorite teams. This, we have a line plus men. That's obviously not lineman. This is lineman. The blue and red are the blue is offensive lineman, the red is defensive lineman. Over here in this picture is last year's offensive lineman. I'm number 72. I was running back then. First thing I'm going to clarify to you is what a lineman is. A lineman is a player who plays on the scrimmage line, and if you don't know what a scrimmage line is, it is where the offense and defense meet. The linemen on the team who have possession of the ball, the offensive linemen, they protect the quarterback and the running back. Linemen are usually the largest players on the field because O and D linemen go against each other. Each time comes down. And it comes down to brute force to beat one another. They're both an average of 6'2", 280 pounds. The nickname for the scrimmage line, since these battles with each other are so brutal, is called the trenches, since the trenches in the Army are atrocious. Now that you have an idea what a lineman is, here are the duties of the different linemen. An offensive lineman consists of 5 core linemen, the center, which is in the middle, and the quarterback is right behind the center. There's 2 guards on either side of the center, and on either side of the guards is the tackles. That makes the 5 core. But to make a better scheme, which is big 22 formation, we add 2 tight ends to each side of the tackles, which makes a total of 7. That could be on the offensive line. Now that you understand what an offensive lineman is and what a lineman is, I'm going to go in detail what the duties of a defensive lineman is. The defensive line consists of 1 or 2 defensive tackles, depending on the defensive front. 2 defensive tackles are lined up either on the 1 shade or the 3 shade of the 2 guards, and there's 2 defensive 2 defensive ends on the outsides of the. Matter of fact, this is better. The C in the green is the center. Those 2 G's are the guards. And the 2 T's are the tackles. This is the tight end, so it's a total of 6 on the offensive line, and there could be add another tight end on the other side, making it 7. These are those 2. The DE is defensive ends and then defensive tackles. Those linebackers, these 3, they all 7 of those control the scrimmage line. So the plays that ran by the offense, they stop it and try to mess up the current play. Today we discuss what a lineman is and the job of an offensive lineman and the duties of a defensive lineman and how they have physical contact to beat each other in any means necessary. It gets pretty violent during the game, and there's words said and there's some crazy stuff. Well, as you know more about the game of football, linemen and their jobs and duties, linemen are never appreciated for what they do. They're the unsung heroes of the game. If there's a big old pass and a touchdown pass, everybody's like, oh, that receiver's good, the quarterback's good. But no one understands that everything starts with the offensive lineman. There's no offensive lineman. The running back can't even get the ball. There's nobody to even snap the ball. So linemen need to be appreciated more. Right. Exactly. And this concludes my speech. Thank you very much.
Edwin, what did you think?
Well, his eyes are down like 8% of his speech. He didn't even cite anything, he just used what he knows and his personal experience the whole time. Someone who really doesn't know about football can just keep on with
All right, I think the visualization at the beginning is the most interesting part of the speech. You've got a dramatic way to get our attention and tell us what the subject is. And so we've got a pretty good setup. The follow-through is not quite as strong. I like the fact that you've got some attitude about what the linemen do and that they are underappreciated as part of the presentation. But we don't get many examples of what any of those reasons why they ought to be more appreciated in the speech. And I think since you stick so closely to the basics of just describing their positions on the line, that we miss an opportunity to develop something that's going to be a lot more interesting. You use yourself as an example, which I think is fine. That gives you a little bit of credibility, and it's going to we ought to be able to get some experiences that you can share to make this more interesting. But let's face it, a lot of people, like you said, are familiar with football. So why is it that you aren't giving us some examples of people who play those positions in the professional ranks, for instance, who are noted for being, for their expertise or ability in that particular position? And for example, somebody who is on the defensive line who is very successful at sacking the quarterback, or somebody who has had fantastic longevity as an offensive lineman and is credited by the quarterback or the running back with the success of their career. This would be a good place maybe for a very brief clip or two of somebody's accomplishments in one of those lines to make it a little bit more active and interesting while you're talking about it. You keep everything at a very basic level, which is not automatically a bad thing, but it needs to be a little bit more interesting. I like the joke that you had, line and min. That was kind of funny. But it seemed like that was your last attempt to do anything that was kind of provocative or distinctive or really interesting, and I think you could do more of that. Once you got to that spot, you're trying to describe all of the positions on the line, and then you suddenly remembered, oh yeah, wait, I've got a slide for this. Once you got to that made it a lot easier for you to make reference to it. And that's one of those places, like I said, where I think maybe you could provide some examples that would make it a little bit more interesting. I have to agree with Ed, when you do look down a little bit, sometimes you sound a little bored while you're speaking. You need a little more energy in the presentation. You've got good attitude in the presentation. Like I said before, I thought that it was kind of interesting the way you're coming off a little bit ticked that the linemen aren't getting the credit that they ought to do. And heck, you're the one fighting in the trenches and doing the hard work, and the glory is going to some of those supposed skilled players. Well, what kind of skills would they have if you weren't there? I think that's a good attitude to have as a speaker there, but then you need to sell it a little bit more with some illustrations and examples. All right, thank you.